Friends, you're in for a very special treat today. Rhae-Ann, who has over 30 years of experience as an educator, as is in her second year as the superintendent of the Battle River School Division. She is passionate about fostering education excellence, supporting staff and students, and ensuring all students have access to high quality learning opportunities. In addition to her professional role, Rhae-Ann is dedicated as a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, and a grandmother. Welcome, Rhae-Ann.
Well, thank you, Dr. Al. It's a pleasure to talk to you today.
Well, thank you. So I always start this journey with how you got to be an educator. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
Absolutely. So I feel I grew up in education. My dad was the role model. He was a teacher and a principal and a system leader. My grandparents on my dad's side were both educators. All my dad's siblings are educators. And so it was really a world that I knew. I also grew up in a family. We were very involved in sports and extracurricular and drama. And I seem to probably take leadership roles, student councils. And so I think the journey was a natural one for me. And I had opportunities to lead early on, and I very much enjoyed that. And I became a teacher, wanted to support more students than what was in my classroom. And I took my master's and learned more about different styles of leadership and different ways to support students, took on the principal roles in schools, and still had a great drive for personal learning within a school division, had opportunity to be a system leader, and absolutely I am passionate about the role I have. I feel I'm very fortunate to have this role. I'm thankful that I get to do this work that I love every day. I have a super team that I have that opportunity I'm very grateful for. They are very passionate about improving student learning, improving staff well-being, supporting staff to support students, and I am grateful for that.
Perfect. Now, you've changed your hat to be a superintendent for your school division. So tell me a little bit about that role and what your top priorities are now.
Yes, well, great question. So our top priorities, when I came to the division last year, the division had an education plan. We had 3 priorities. Part of the work that I really enjoy and I'm passionate about is ensuring students, staff, our stakeholders have that opportunity to give the school division feedback on what is important for the lives of our students. And so we did some engagements last year and revamped our education plan 3 priorities. So our 3 priorities are learning success for all, high quality learning and working environments, and well-being. And those did significantly change from previous, but it was really because of the feedback that we received and what people are saying is important to continue to work on in our school. So we needed to revise our priorities.
Well, I'm going to make a confession. You know, I went through high school in Calgary at Bishop Carroll High School, and it was one of those free schools where you didn't have to attend classes. Oh my goodness, that is one of the worst things to do for a student at those age groups, because you don't have any form, you don't have any function, you get to do what you want, and I think 5% of students can do it and do it well, because they're athletes, they're superimposed structure. I I majored in driving my motorcycle, right, working at a restaurant, playing games, learning how to golf, all the things that weren't necessarily school things. I was still doing well because I was a bright student. And the way the school worked is you had unit packs. And the unit pack would have goals and saying, at the end of this unit pack, you'll be able to do A, B, and C. Well, as soon as they gave me those goals, I knew A, B, and C, but I didn't know anything else. And so I excelled at those things, but it wasn't necessarily the best thing to do. So I didn't get enough credits to go to university, so I had to spend summer school going to university, went to Mount Royal College, which is now Mount Royal University, spent 6 months there getting up my credits, then went to university. And university was tough. It's so much competition. I wanted to go into medicine, and it was very tough. I mean, 250 students all cutthroat applying for, they'd give you assignments where you had to go to the library and look up journals, and you'd go to the journal and the pages would be razor bladed out that you're supposed to look up.
Wow.
It was pretty
cutthroat.
That was cutthroat. But then I kept going, and I got a BSc honors in psychology, and by the time you got up to the BSc honors group, you were in classes of 20 or 30 people, and they weren't cutthroat anymore. So I applied for medical school, and I got rejected by all the medical schools I applied. I figured out what they wanted, reapplied, and got accepted by the University of Alberta in Edmonton. And then about 2 weeks after I was accepted, they said, come back down to Calgary. We've got a place for you now. I said, no, I moved up everything up here. I'm going to stay here. So I went through the University of Alberta. I got accepted by dermatology in the University of Minnesota. And I came back to Edmonton, practiced for 30 years, and I led the pack for 17 years. So all those formative years made me what I was, made me a leader. So you never know what's going to work and what doesn't work.
And it's different for different people.
Exactly. And you are the one that knows that, because different things motivate different people. Different things make it happen. Different things really, the cream always rises to the top. And if there's not cream, they still need to be instilled. Everybody has a place in this world.
Everybody. Absolutely. All of our students can be successful. We need to really work to have them understand that success doesn't mean you will be accepted into medical school. There are so many other opportunities that lead to a successful life.
Yeah. One of my biggest failures was my youngest daughter, who was a great student until she got to grade 7 or 8, and she started failing. She just started failing. And we didn't figure out what was wrong until she took her learner's permit for a car, and she failed the exam like 17 times. And then I took the learner's manual and went through it, and she knew everything, every answer. Well, the problem was it was a multiple choice exam, and she couldn't do multiple choice exams, and schools were doing multiple choice exams. And she couldn't do multiple choice exams because she had ADD of the brain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that was bad. And so we figured it out because of this. We started her on medications, and she became a top student overnight.
Wow. That is a great story. Yep. And I think it's important that people understand that sometimes it's not anything that they're doing wrong or different. It's just our brains learn different.
Well, the problem is our teachers are so busy, they don't pick on it. and everybody is so busy and they don't pick up on it. And then comes the shame and blame stuff. And a lot of times it gets introjected into our students. So they say, I'm bad. I just can't cut it. I can't do it. I'm glad my daughter never got that way, but it would be so easy to go that way.
I have positive experiences with teachers supporting kids, and so I'm very fortunate. Personally, I have some fantastic stories of when my own kids were not learning, and my own children have some diagnosis as well, and were supported in school and caught in school. An example would be when my daughter went to kindergarten. It was the kindergarten teacher who told me I needed to get her eyes checked. And she was doing all the things right. She was holding the book the right way. She would listen to stories being told and she could retell them. But she needed glasses. And so I have some very positive stories about teachers supporting kids. And I think in our school division as well, our students are very lucky that we have staff that really look out for them and support them and their families when kids are struggling.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to pause for a commercial message, but friends, come right back to this episode of the Elite Educator, because Rhae-Ann is going to share so much more for you. And if you are an educator, you need to hear these. Friends, I have Rhae-Ann, who's had over 30 years of experience as an educator and now as a superintendent. Rhae-Ann, what strategies do you believe are most effective in ensuring all students have access to high-quality learning opportunities?
Oh, what a great question. I think there's lots of strategies. One, I think it's an intrinsic belief that that every student is capable of success, and we want that success for every student. We engage students in their learning. I'm glad you gave that example of the multiple choice exam, because all students learn differently and students can show how they demonstrated their learning in various ways. And I think our staff are very good at ensuring students have that multiple opportunity to show how they demonstrate learning. That really gets to that high quality learning environment, ensuring there's various ways to engage them in the classroom.
Now, Rhae-Ann, it's not all about reading, writing, and arithmetic, is it?
Our first priority, learning success for all, we do focus on literacy and numeracy, and we know that those foundational skills will lead to success in other subjects.
I'm going to disagree.
Yeah.
The first priority.
Great. Let's have a conversation.
For you, the first priority is caring. And it always is the foundation. I could see that in you, and I could see that in what you do. And then the other things are a natural product of that. But without the caring, you don't have sharing. You don't have the kids buying in.
Absolutely. We talk about that so much. Probably comes maybe in our well-being priority, but we talk about fostering effective relationships, how staff are able to do that. When I walk into our schools in Battle River School Division, the great feeling that we get with the staff connecting with our students, the students being able to connect with each other. Our students are able to say that they have that great role model, somebody that they would go to if things weren't going well in their school. So absolutely caring those relationships, and then you can get to the learning. That's right.
Yeah, and I think, it's so fundamental. We don't enunciate it and don't spell it out, but it is necessary. It may not be sufficient, but it is necessary for all things to move forward.
Yeah, I'm really glad you stopped me there, because we do talk about the students need to have that sense of belonging in school, and we talk about families need to feel that their students have a place in our school, that we care about them. We don't want students to go through and finish grade 12 and have experiences where they can go back and would at all say that nobody cared about them through school. So that is very important to us. We want our kids to feel that they are cared for. We spend a lot of time with our kids. We know our students very well by the time they leave our system.
So, how do you support teachers and staff in maintaining their well being and professional growth while managing the demands of the education system?
That is another great question. And I think focusing on well-being really supports our school division and supports our staff in knowing that that is important to us. Hopefully, shared messages help, telling staff that the great things to do to support their well-being. Right now in Battle River, we have a move challenge with all of our staff. So there's a little competition going on. And so I think it helps with that post-winter. We all need to get out into the sunshine or do something to motivate us. And that supports our well-being. We're switching some providers for our health, and being able to promote that, and where staff goes if they need some support and help, acknowledging and recognizing the great work of staff hopefully helps with well-being. I cannot commend our staff enough, and hopefully they hear that directly from me, that they are doing a fantastic job. We're going into spring break, and I've been able to tour schools, and the work that we do in our schools is tiring. Our staff give 150% every day, and just recognizing that break is coming up and people need to take a step back and relax, and hopefully that supports their well-being. And I think having that sense of connection back to Battle River School Division. In their school, they do some things, but having that connection back to the whole and knowing that they're part of a team that finds their value and knows that their work is important, hopefully supports their well-being.
Okay, so the next part is a tough question, but something I know you're going to do very well. What innovative programs have been developed in your division that really make a difference for students and teachers?
Innovative programs. I'd like to think of, right now we're doing some work with our leading and learning, our principals and assistant principals, about visible learning and making sure that we are intentional about what we are teaching in the classroom, that students have that opportunity to know what the goal is, what the learning intention is, what the outcome will look like, how they demonstrate that we are intentional about having that belief all students can learn, that we're intentional about involving them in their feedback. So that's some intentional initiatives that we're doing. We also, last year, we put some money into technology to ensure that we could replace all of our visual displays in our classroom over 4 years, so we can engage learners of 21st century in their learning. And so we have some lead teachers in technology throughout our schools that are learning and leading and championing this work. We have literacy leads in our schools as well. So we come together and talk about great literacy strategies, and they go back and share that with their staff. Something new this year as well is a wellness lead. So we can share those ideas of how to support staff and student wellness and share those out. And so hopefully there's connection to the whole as we support great opportunities for staff and students in our schools.
That's beautiful. I think you did amazing there. Now, all my shows are based on the principle of living a fantastic life. I'm going to ask you on a personal level, how do you balance this all to have a fantastic life? Your personal life, being a grandmother, being a superintendent, having been a teacher, how do you balance it all?
I think some of that comes with age and realizing some of those important things. Um, as a parent, taking the time when I'm with my student or with my own kids to really be present in what we're doing as a family, taking the time to connect with them when we're not present, and ensuring that they know they are important in my life, that I'm not just working 18 hours a day. And part of living a fantastic life for me as well is taking care of myself mentally and physically. So I do lots of walks. I listen to various podcasts, various audiobooks, do some learning, but do some fun things on the side. I ensure that I'm learning. I have some great books here on my desk that I'm learning professionally, but I do also like to connect with the things I like to do personally as well. Taking time for family holidays, and I'm very fortunate my parents are still alive. My siblings and family were very close, so ensuring that's an important aspect of my life. So how do I live a fantastic life is making sure that all the things that impact me, my relationships, are nurtured, that I take time for them. And part of it is my work life. I'm very fulfilled by the things I get to do every day. I'm very grateful for the people I get to work with. I'm in a fantastic school division that's doing great things for kids, and that fills my bucket too. So it's kind of realizing the important things in one's life.
Okay. The flip side of this question are the people you mentor. So, how do you make sure your teachers have a fantastic life?
Oh, well, we do a couple things for communications. Every 2 weeks, we send out a newsletter from central office to all of our staff. It always starts with a message from me. In that message, I like to recognize the important aspects of my life. I will share out podcasts that I'm listening to or books that I'm reading, and I share that on. I try to ensure the message is there that they have to take that step away on the weekend and take care of themselves. They have to, physically be active. They have to enjoy the people that are in their life that they enjoy being with as well. So that message does come from me. I'd like to think that is an important part of the messages I share. And when they're with me, I talk about that. I absolutely give people that permission that, we're not working all hours. We have to take that time to relax, to rejuvenate, and do things that are not just about work.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I'm going to encourage all of our listeners to check out the Battle River School Division website, because there's so much beautiful information there. And if you'd like to ask Rhae-Ann questions, I'm sure you can get to her via that site. Don't overburden her. She's a busy lady, but she has such a big heart that I know she'd like to help you if she can. Rhae-Ann, thank you so much for being part of this show. And thank you so much for helping everybody else out there get to the level that your school division has gotten to.
Well, thank you, Dr. L. It was very nice to meet you, and it is always my pleasure to talk about the fantastic school division that I have the opportunity to lead and the work of our staff and, of course, about students. Thank you.
Thank you. And friends, make sure you check out other episodes of the Elite Educator, because there's so much more to learn and share. And share this with your friends. And get in touch with me, Dr. Al. I also am a professional speaker who speaks at schools. You can get me at dralspeaks.com. Check me out. I would love to talk to you about being at your school and helping your students as well. Bye for now and have a fantastic day.